it gives me like, it's a great
That's why
privilege
when you see
to come and introduce Shawn Carney. He is the executive of the Coalition for Life. He's on the national board for 40 Days for Life. Been at this for a while, and come to share it with us, the stories of what's going on in our nation, and this prayer vigil effort, and just to encourage us to fight the grit.
Well, thank you all for coming out. I never thought I would ever be in Downers Grove, Illinois, for sure. But hey, it's the first for everything. And I remember in 2004 when David B. Wright, my wife, and I were sitting around a table thinking about what we could do to affect the business of our local Planned Parenthood. And after prayer, we got the idea of 40 Days for Life, and the 40 days of prayer, 40 days of fasting, and the 40 days of the non-stop peaceful vigil outside of our local abortion clinic. And that reduced our local abortions by 28%. And when it was over, we never wanted to hear about 40 Days for Life ever again. We were so tired. It was one of the hottest summers. We don't have fall. I've read about it. But up here, I just came from the Michigan locations, and it was cold, and there was frost on my windshield this morning, which was just wild for October. It's not even Halloween. So, but, communities across the country were starving to do something about abortion in their town, and we kept getting calls about 40 days, and I was helping a couple of communities like Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Charlotte, North Carolina get theirs off the ground and speaking at their kickoff events, but they were doing it on their own. And I remember getting a call from a couple, and they said, well, we had heard about a 40 Days for Life campaign that you did in College Station. I said, oh, you should really consider bringing it to your town. They said, oh, we just completed it last weekend. And that's when we knew it was something special. And so David and I got on the phone and thought, instead of coming up with, what we could do, let's see what God is already doing and join him in that work. And we launched the first ever National 40 Days for Life last fall, really thinking that we would get about 25 cities. I thought we'd get 30. I was the optimist. And we were overjoyed when 89 cities registered last fall, first ever campaign. And then many cities were kind of looking at it going, I don't know who these two Weasels are from Texas. And so maybe we'll do it in the spring, which we had no plans for the spring campaign, but we launched one for spring, and again, we got another 60 locations, only 3 registered on the first day of registrations, and we were like, we knew it, this is going to bomb. And in the last day, 38 cities registered for last spring. And so to date, we have 139 cities in 33 states that have completed the campaign, including England, Ireland, Brazil, and Peru. And the Irish fast on nothing but Guinness for 40 days. So it's an amazing accomplishment they had. But it's been such a joy to see how fast 40 days has grown, and I think it's a great testament to the growth of our faith in our country. Small numbers of people that the church is becoming that are extremely strong in their faith and willing to take their faith to the most hopeless places in America, which are abortion clinics. There's not a more desperate place in this community than that building, because it sells hopelessness, and it sells that on the fear of women. And we see so often, not only through 40 Days for Life, but women turn away at that last moment because of the people outside peacefully praying. We've seen over 600 babies saved through 40 Days for Life. And as we stand here today, 90 have been saved in the first 9 days of this campaign. And it has been phenomenal. It's always neat to know, and I've prayed in front of so many clinics and the one in College Station. Whenever I go out to pray, my wife drug me out there the first time. Was trying to marry her, and so I was done with her. Exactly. That always helps. And so I got convicted right off the bat, but I know Mary Lisa and I, my wife, we felt alone so many days, so many hours you feel alone. And it's awesome to see that now, as we stand here, there's 177 locations doing the same thing in 45 states that we are doing right now. I was in Aurora this morning, and Traverse City yesterday in Michigan, and Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I'll fly to Iowa next week and go to Nebraska. But everywhere you go, it's the same thing. It's wonderful, great, pro-life people who, while we could be doing so many other things, are coming out to pray to end abortion. We are not here because we want to be. There are many other things we could be doing right now. One of them is watching college football. And the reason that we come out is because these aren't our children. It's very difficult for us to relate to these babies. 50 million is too large of a number, but we can relate to the 12 that were aborted here today. We can relate to the 100 or so that are aborted every month or every couple of weeks, and we know whose children they are, and that's why we're here. We are here to represent Christ, to come out to the sidewalks, to get out of His way, and let His truth, His love, and His mercy speak for itself. That's why the presence is so important, whether there's one person here or 1,000 people here. It only takes one faithful person to bring the truth, love, and mercy of Christ to these sidewalks, and God knows every single hair on our head, and I assure you, He does not forget one aborted baby, and He doesn't forget 1 minute that you spend out here, because He knows that you are doing it on His behalf and for Him and in service to Him and out of love for Him. So 40 Days for Life is a wonderful opportunity not only to give witness to the women, the babies, and the clinic workers who feel they have no other option but to work in a place that is killing our future, but it converts us. We are converted, which we need every single day. We're not here because we think we're perfect. We're here because we know we're imperfect. And because we know we're imperfect, we know the world is imperfect. And we have to come out here and give the ultimate solution to this crisis, Christ, to the sidewalks, because abortion will end because of conversion of hearts and minds. On paper, it doesn't make any sense to come out here, but abortions don't happen on paper, and they don't happen in the halls of the Supreme Court or the halls of Congress. They happen in there, and we have to address that reality by coming to where the pain is happening and praying for all those involved in abortion and